So what is it that social architects, basically social engineers, understand? They understand the human psyche, and that's where attacks tend to begin, is with that idea of the psychological influences, okay, on social media. So, when you become a great social engineer, you understand the psychological principles, right, that drive people, and we'll take a look at a few of these, all right? So, basically understanding and manipulating these tactics can help individuals and organizations better recognize and resist. So if we know how the attacker is going to attack, how they're going to manipulate, and we train our end users on those tactics and then test them on them to remind them, hey, wait a minute, how are you going to get taken? We better secure our network from the human aspect. Okay, so let's look at those things. First of all is fear-based. That's those techniques that exploit an individual's anxiety or fear to compel them to act quickly or irrationally, often bypassing normal cautionary measures. This could be that text message, right? Now, before I go any further, let me say a lot of times we'll add some of these together. The more of these influences we can hit, the more reactive that person's going to be without stopping and thinking before they click, before they answer, before they do whatever, right? So this fear-based tactic can be that text message that comes through that says a large transaction has gone through your bank account. We need you to call us immediately about it, or log into this site immediately. We get them on the phone. We tell them about a fictitious. They give us their username and password to their bank account. And yes, this kind of stuff does happen. Urgency. So creating a sense of immediate action or pressure. This could be something as simple as, act now, act within the next 24 hours, right? Something that causes individuals to make quick decisions, without thorough consideration. So whatever that is, right? That urgency, that sense, that's, if you think about in your own life, right? When have you acted without thinking? Okay. Greed. So exploiting an individual's desire. Again, this could be something as simple as I mentioned previously. Hey, if you'll just plug this USB drive in, I'll give you $500, right? A lot of times, that the old phishing scams were, we're a company that's out in another country. In order to transfer money, we have to do this whole thing. And if you'll go down to the bank and do this for us and give us your account, we'll let you keep 10% of the profit by transferring this to us in small sums, so that, it doesn't hit all those federal regulations and get, stopped for 10 days from a wire transfer, or whatever the case may be, right? Definitely, and remember, these are the psychological influences that were used well before social engineering as it pertains to computing, right? So sympathy, oh, I lost my job, I don't know what to do, I'm down to my last $5, how can you help? Walking into a gas station with a gas can, boy, I broke down the road. Can you fill the gas can? Who named, you can think of all these different scenarios, right? Authority is the idea of leveraging a person's tendency to comply with perceived figures of authority, right? Or expertise, assuming their requests are legitimate or that they know more than you do. So this could be something as simple as, we target a CEO, we find out they're gone, we target someone in the office, to get them to do something. And maybe that something is acting as if we're a law enforcement agency and, there's a ticket that should have been paid, there's a warrant out for your arrest, but we can take care of that ticket today, get rid of that for $100. All you got to do is pay $100. So Venmo, do whatever, right? Liking, utilizing the principle that people are more likely to comply with requests from individuals they like or find attractive. So yeah, playing on that card there, what is it that we have in common? That's always a good one. Okay, so social engineering techniques, now getting off of the psychology and getting into the techniques implemented through various malicious activities accomplished through human interaction, right? Engineers can trick users into making security mistakes. Gee, I know I was trained not to click, but I clicked, right? And here's that statistic. So phishing is the most common social engineering attack used today, which the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, that's a mouthful, cites as the entry point for upwards of 90% of today's ransomware attacks, okay, or other attacks, hacks, etc. So if we talk about LastPass, the LastPass attack actually happened through a software engineer, right, who, if I remember correctly, was working from home and got suckered into clicking on a link. That's all it takes. So social engineering techniques, these are sort of the top three. Now, there's two different types here that I want to talk about. There's the ones that are massive, and these are the mass attacks. We send out that phishing email to 1 million people, right? That's that spam email. It's, we're hoping to get people to click. We send it out to enough people. A few people are going to click. It's a successful attack, right? So that's pretty common. Smishing is simply phishing through SMS, getting that text message on your phone, right? That says, hey, whatever it is, your bank account's been compromised. That's always a good one, right? We want you to take a short survey for XYZ, but the survey really doesn't matter. Even I've gotten hit by a couple of those, okay? Baiting. And why do I mention that I've gotten hit? Because I'm human. And even though I teach this stuff and I know this stuff and I study this stuff and I read on this stuff, the right thing at the right time, you catch me in a rush, you catch me on a bad day, whatever the case may be, we all are human. We all can make this mistake. We've talked about baiting, so, the tactic that entices victims with a seemingly attractive offer, tricking them into revealing sensitive information, or better yet, downloading something, right? Just click this link to enter for XYZ. So if we look at a deeper dive and more focused and targeted social engineering attacks, okay? So those were mass attacks in a lot of cases. Okay, not to say those couldn't be individualized. We'll look at that. So, which require less participation, and target a single victim, right? And actually, this should say more participation. Let me change that. The magic of technology, folks. More preparation. So, more of a targeted attack, usually a single victim, maybe a small group, okay? Often have higher success rates, reduced detection risk because we're not sending out millions of emails that can all be tracked back. We're attacking one person or a subset group, right? And definitely with increased impact. So these take more time, they take more effort, they take more cost, but the results and the risks are lower and the results tend to be higher. Okay, so here's a few of those tactics. Playing on phishing, now we're looking at spear phishing. So this is a targeted attack, okay, on individual, okay, or an organization. We're not attacking everyone. By doing a spear phishing, we use, a spear phishing attack is what Sarah did on John in our previous example, okay? And of course, a lot of these techniques or tactics are used together. So pretexting, if we want to do this correctly, if we're going to meet someone or bump into someone, we want to have that pretext. We want to create that liking, right? That psychological liking through having common interests, maybe a common problem. We know that person's got this thing going on in their life and we have that too, and we create this camaraderie through sympathy, okay? Vishing, so, using deceptive phone calls to trick individuals into revealing sensitive information. This is, like I said in that law enforcement example, you get a phone call that there's a warrant out for your arrest, or, that you have unpaid taxes, and if you pay it now, it's going to be X amount with us, but, if we don't get a payment in the next 24 hours, blah, blah, blah is going to happen. even the smartest people can fall for these targeted attacks, okay? Because they're one-on-one. There's that more of that human element taking place, more of that human manipulation taking place in these attacks. A whaling attack is a type of spear phishing attack that targets high-profile individuals. These could be celebrities, executives, government officials that we want to attack, and gain information from, influential figures within an organization. So getting into an organization through, a higher end executive, for example. Quid pro quo, we've talked about, but a little bit more information, leveraging that psychological principle of, reciprocity. Okay, reciprocity. Okay, there we go. I can say it. Where individuals feel obligated to return a favor. So maybe I give them something and they give me something. Okay? This can start simply with a cup of coffee and having a conversation. Okay? They feel obligated to talk to you because you bought them coffee. Tailgating, again, that physical, aspect of security breaches, unauthorized person following an authorized individual into a restricted area. Again, this can be, carrying the groceries, but more importantly, it may be showing up in an office that has a badging system and you act as if you're a new employee that just got their badge, left it on their desk, and, boy, you're upset, you shouldn't do it, getting in trouble on your first day. Do you remember your first day? Can you help me out? Can you just let me into the building? So in conclusion, today's digital landscape, social engineering attacks are a constant threat. They're constantly changing. Social engineers are leveraging those psychological impacts of fear and urgency, everything noted here, liking, scarcity, commitment, whatever the case may be, authority, again, that is a big one. Okay. And then, how do we combat this? Well, that's really simple. It starts with end user training. It is crucial in the defense of social engineering attacks. We train people on how they're going to get attacked, and then we continuously train them. It's amazing how many companies will say, well, yeah, we did cybersecurity training a year ago, right? People forget. They need to be reminded. I don't personally think that video that somebody watches works. I think getting people in a room, having them act out attacks, getting someone, maybe even bringing in an OSINT engineer who has targeted someone in the room, who's been willing to be a target and share that information, share how that person would be targeted. Okay, I think that is really key. A little bit more here. So recognizing phishing and smishing, spotting deceptive emails and texts, understanding risks, of unknown links, how to check those links. If you don't know, don't click, right? Baiting awareness, identifying traps, being skeptical, unfortunately, of almost every email that comes in, understanding spear phishing, understanding targeted attacks, how they work on high-profile people, meaning if you're a high-profile person, there's more opportunity that you're going to be attacked, especially if you're a high-profile person associated with a high-profile organization, right? That I want to attack with some ransomware. So pretexting, phishing, handling unexpected calls, having that, the big thing, right, is let me call you back. And then you don't call back the number on the caller ID. You look up the number and you call back, because maybe they're saying they're from a company, and even though it might show up on your caller ID, they're not from that company. Okay. Tailgating, it really is about policy. It's about enforcing physical security, testing end users, seeing if you can get them to break those policies, right, and make mistakes that allow people physical access to authorized only areas within a building. And of course, quid pro quo, being cautious of offers in exchange for sensitive information. Sometimes it starts out with little quid pro quos and it just grows and grows and grows, until somebody is really, hooked and we're ready to make that attack that's going to give the result we're looking for. So that's it, folks. We will see you in Chapter 3, where we will dive into viruses and threats and the attackers and who they are and why they do it. See you then.